your files. Send me some of that peach cobbler high-speed singer in the world. Tweet us via earlier or late or at FRESH_. JWordDNZ. I wish I could do the ceremony the Army style every 20 minutes of the hour. Rosary. Remember 311 off this video screening process of your new president-elect, Cyber eBay auctions. Remember, all liquids must be in a 3-ounce size container. American United. Fly with us. Virgin America, my frequent flyer card is hashtag 422.
Happy Halloween.
It's still Halloween.
Hope you had an opportunity over the weekend to
at the White House.
Spend a little time celebrating or marking the occasion, hover you choose to do so.
Remember 18 USC 2511. Intercepting wire, oral, and electronic communication. Whoa.
Let's start with the uproar over.
Man has won the election. Today's show is MerriweatherA.Law in America's first singing attorney. We make the law sound wonderful the way it should have been retroactive law. Besides everything.
Really bipartisan combination of that decision.
QRM agency and the All Broadcast Media Network.
Openly saying they advised him that that was not appropriate. Eric Holder says that was the wrong decision. Attorney General.
How do we learn the newspaper?
Without getting into the
how do they learn the
investigation, which I know you can't discuss, does the president feel it was appropriate for Comey to make that public just days before the election?
Well, Josh, I anticipate this where you wanted to start. I appreciate
thank you.
That over
the privacy shot
2 years now that I've
registered
been answering questions about Secretary Clinton's email system.
Counter ISIL.
That I've made clear that the White House is going to be scrupulous about avoiding even the appearance of political interference in prosecutorial or investigative
Counter ISIL. We have a pause.
And that is a posture that I won't change, and is a posture
Counter
that
ISIL.
speaks to the
I love a song. Close the doors, seatbelt.
Responsibilities that are
The
investigated,
music will
that are
sync
vested
into the
here in the
sound
White House,
system.
which is preserving
Temperatures on
the
67
independence
degrees.
and
Only they do what they do.
Of independent investigations.
We're in a
conducted by the Department of
2017 luxury from me to you.
Now, you raised a question about
You can roll your windows up. You can roll your windows down.
some of the decisions that have been
You
made
can
to
ride with
communicate
us.
information about those investigations to the
To
public.
get the finer things in life.
And
My co-host,
what's true
Anonymous
is,
Currency.
Josh said I don't have any independent
Who will
knowledge
cause
of how
perjury.
those decisions were
Be
made.
Siri,
I
PH
don't know
or
what
J
factors
or
were
Ben,
considered.
obtained by illegal means. Throw it away.
Dating all the way back to July,
Dating all the way back.
when Director Comey announced the results of the investigation and spoke at length to the public about his decision not to prosecute Secretary Clinton.
Zonalin, DCX
Included in that news conference were some
4215.
rather harsh
Rather harsh.
condemnations of
What is this really
the way
about?
that Secretary Clinton handled that situation.
Rodney King,
Director Comey also
Main
testified
Street.
before Congress at some length on camera under
Miss
oath
Kathleen Morrison.
and about the investigation. And some of that testimony provided
Some of that
fodder
associate
to Secretary
testimony.
Clinton's critics.
We're high-speed internet.
Over the course of the fall,
Over the
we've
course
seen
of the fall.
FBI move forward
Move
by
forward.
providing other
Providing
investigative information,
Other investigative information
302 forms and other
302
documents to Congress.
to Congress. We're in the community.
And the fact is,
And the
my
fact
lack
is,
of independent knowledge
lack
about
of
that
independent
decision-making
knowledge
prevents me from weighing in.
prevents
So
from disabling
I anticipate that
special
this
needs.
is not the only question I'm going to get
Not
asked
the
about this
only
today, but
question.
I'll neither defend nor criticize
Criticize
what
what
Director Comey
Director Comey
has decided
has decided
to communicate to the
to
public
communicate to the public
investigation.
about this investigation.
What I will
say
is that the Department of Justice
Department of Justice
in our
in
democracy
our communists,
is given
is
expansive
given
authority
a
to conduct
pharaoh
investigations.
to conduct investigations with
The
the
Department of
forensic.
Justice
The Cousins and
is given
Wadsworth
subpoena power.
is given subpoena power.
They're allowed to
This week with
compel
George
witnesses to
Stephanopoulos
testify.
testify.
They are able to collect
John Abrams.
evidence that's not readily
It's
available
not
necessarily.
ABC.
They're even
allowed
to
to
panel a grand jury.
Grand jury.
Those are substantial
Sandusky
authorities. It's important
It's
in light of the
Donahue
president
and
that those
Phil.
authorities are tempered by an adherence to long-standing tradition and practice and
of
norms
Ultima
that limit
and communion,
public discussion
bread and wine,
of of facts that are collected in the context of those
investigations.
And there are a variety of reasons for that. And the president believes that
that 184
for
Connecticut
those norms and traditions
is more than a happy birthday.
Were they in this case?
Well,
Today's show sponsored by 47 USC 222, Privacy of Customer Information.
And by discussion, I mean a lot of public reporting.
A
multitude of anonymous sources at the Department of Justice.
Rasmussen.edu.
The president believes that
degrees you can have in 2
a
years.
set of significant institutional responsibilities that officials at the Department of Justice and the FBI must fulfill. The good news is the president believes that Director Comey is a man of
the bad
integrity.
news is
He's a man of principle.
he's a man of principle.
And he's a man of good character.
And we lie.
That presumably is the reason that President Bush
President Bush
chose him to serve in a senior position at the
in a
Bush
senior position at
administration's
the Bush
Department of
administration.
Justice.
Our
These
stain
same
remover
character traits
and
are
Uber.
what led a strong
Yeah,
majority
stain
of Democratic
remover
and
from
Republican senators
Uber.
to confirm him to this job.
Diddy.
These are the traits that led the president to select him to
Select him
be the director of the FBI.
to
And
be David Petraeus.
these are tough questions.
These are tough questions.
And so it's a good thing that he's a man of integrity and
the thing we have a
character
stain
to
remover
take them on.
from Uber.
You'll concede, I'm sure.
Pink Shorts is in front of a live democracy republic, both exposed and approved. Thank you for writing Emerald. They knew. Safety video. This is Auditorium Station. Next station, Seneca, Nord, Nation of Indians Reservation. Auditorium never received this iPhone. Restitution of all state and federal funds is applicable. Time Warner to a volunteer status, 18 code USC 1385. What's in your wallet?
More information than Comey did in that very brief letter.
This is Pink Shorts, Civil Contract 1622.
Josh, in the same way that I'll neither
The use
criticize nor
of land
defend,
zoning loss prevention.
Director Comey's
Seminelli
decisions about what's
LP
public in the
of
context
Electoral
this
College Street.
investigation.
Oh, hi, Red Head,
That's
Tim
because
Soil, Tim
I just don't have independent
S.
knowledge
Value
of
One. And
the
communicating
decisions that are made to release this
with
information.
your patents via my client's medulla, primary
There are other
cortex,
people that
primary
have the
visual,
luxury of being able to
primary
find
luxury
writing
Toyota
op-eds
from me to
or
you,
serving as
primary
anonymous
auditory
sources
activate
for
fasciculus
reporters to weigh in
hippocampus
with their own
vertical.
view. But when I'm standing here representing the institution of the
The Wernicke's.
presidency,
Hello, Gerard.
I don't have the
BRCA,
luxury
angular
so,
gyrus, or any part of the
in the
left
same
and right
way that
hemisphere
I'll
that ranges
neither
in agreement to the acceptance of identical evidence
defend nor
of
criticize
23
Dr. Comey's
Enterprises,
decisions
my
with regard
second
to
identity,
what to make
and discussion of
public in
all
the
kinds of
context
things will use for Pink
investigation.
Shorts, married with
I don't have any
not limited.
recommendations to make to him either with regard to what information
It's
should be
one up.
communicated to the public.
In the past, including after the FBI announced that it
Two-party consent laws require to record or eavesdrop on any confidential communication with Josh Ernst, the President, First Lady, the press school, or any government entity, including a private conversation without the consent of all parties. This is a news program.
The fact that you're not defending him, is that some signal to us that there is
Penal Code Section
for the
632.
White House to maintain some additional
Yes, we
distance
do.
here?
Well, I think, Josh, what I have observed
Penalty.
in the past is that Director
We want a
Comey is a man
penalty.
of integrity.
Yes, we
He's a
do.
man of principle. He's a man who
I want a
is well
penalty.
regarded by senior officials in both parties. He's somebody who served in a senior position in the Bush administration.
In the
And
Bush
he's somebody who
administration,
got strong bipartisan support.
bipartisan
When
support.
His nomination,
His
to be director of
nomination,
the FBI was considered by the
FBI
United
was
States Senate.
considered a state senator.
So
So
all those things
all
are
those
true.
things
They
are
speak
true based on
to his
to
good
his
character,
good character
and
and
the president's assessment
The
of
president's
his integrity
assessment
and his character
character
has not changed.
has not changed.
For example,
The
president doesn't believe
president doesn't
that
believe
Director Comey
that
is
Director
intentionally
Comey
trying
is
to
intentionally
influence the outcome
trying
of an election.
cancel an
The president doesn't
election,
believe that he's
doesn't
secretly
believe
strategizing to benefit
strategizing
one candidate or
one
political
candidate
party.
or another.
He's in a tough spot.
He's in a tough spot,
And
and
he's the one who will be in a position to
in a position to
defend his
his actions.
in the face of
This is voted by
significant
aliens
criticism
15
a variety of legal experts, including
illegal
individuals
aliens.
who served in senior Department of
States Made
Justice
Direct 1994.
positions
States Made Direct.
in administrations that were led by presidents in both parties.
States Made Direct 94.
But that kind of.
States Made Direct 94.
But I'm just not going to be in a position to
Electoral colleges
frankly,
Made Direct
defend or
94.
criticize the decisions that he's made with what to regard.
States
or
Made
with
Direct
regard to
94.
what to communicate in public.
Voted by aliens.
That is separate, Josh,
That is true.
from the kind of prosecutorial and investigative decisions that are made by the
vacancies,
FBI and the Department of
FBI and
Justice.
Department of Justice.
That is their institutional responsibility
That
to
is
make
our
those decisions
Communists.
about investigations
And
and
law.
prosecutions independent of any sort of political
Independent of
interference.
political
And I will
interference.
defend their right to do that. In fact, it's their
Electoral
responsibility.
College, that's why I'm on us.
Is it concerning at all
Electoral
to the White
College.
House that you have the Justice Department?
We have a right for
and the
shock
FBI
explaining Electoral College
basically
and
griping
States
at each
Major Act
other in
94.
some form of
Presidential vacancy
public or
in a hotel.
semi-public fashion. I mean, they obviously have to work.
Yeah, Trina
very
Green,
closely
thanks for the
together
hotel. Thank you.
Country safe.
Thanks, Trina Green.
Is there an issue there that needs to be resolved so that the Justice Department isn't
We have a right for shock
accusing
explaining
the
States
FBI
Major
of
Act
not following
Electoral
proper
College.
procedures?
Well, Josh, you've heard me discuss
We want a
the
penalty.
president's view of
Miles.
Director Comey's integrity and character.
Yeah, we want a
Let me
penalty.
just tell you that the president's got a
Penalty.
lot of confidence in the Attorney General of the United States.
Give him a penalty.
To run that department.
Right.
And she is somebody who spent decades as a career
Decades as
prosecutor.
a prosecutor.
She's not new to any of
She's
this.
not new to Miles.
A lot of that work
A lot of that work
was done when she
was done
the,
when she was
head of the
head of
Eastern
the
District of New
penalty.
York, the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District.
U.S.
of
Attorney
New
for
York.
Eastern District.
That is
a
a position where
position where
these kinds of decisions
these
are
kinds of
closely
decisions are closely
scrutinized
scrutinized
by the media that's based in the
by the
largest
media
city in our country.
sitting in our
So she's
country.
used to this kind of pressure, and the president's got complete.
The
confidence
president's
in her
got
ability,
complete confidence
to handle this situation
responsibly
and consistent with the institutional
institution
responsibilities that are vested with the
that are
Department of
vested with
Justice.
the Department of
And,
Justice.
one other question on a topic that I know is difficult to talk about for another reason. The president's half brother, Malik Obama, has published
Hello, media. How are you?
an op-ed,
Good
I
morning.
suppose, in a New York newspaper.
Today's show
essentially
sponsored by
airing a list of grievances
Verizon.
against the president, saying he isn't sufficiently supporting
Buy
his
one
family
Moto
in
Z,
Kenya,
get one free. The next gen Moto
and send condolences
deserves the
after his
next gen
half-brother's
network.
sons or children passed away.
VerizonWireless.com.
And he ends by saying, I will not be humiliated.
And by Win
anymore.
Mobile CA.
Does the president
Gone
have
with
any
the wind. Following the
thoughts
savings.
about
3G
that
data, unlimited.
op-ed or
Canada
the
White
fact
Talk.
that this
Global
family
Talk and
issue
more.
is
Now
playing out publicly?
$35.
Josh, I have to
For
admit
10
that I
months.
have not seen
Only
the op-ed
from
that,
Win
you're
Mobile
referring to.
CA.
If we have an official reaction to it, I can follow up with you. I
Two-thirds
spoke to
of the
president
world.
about the series of questions
It's
that you
us.
started the briefing with, but I did not. I had not read the op-ed.
I
so
have
did
not.
ask him about this one, but we'll follow up with you.
Is
Okay.
Canada
Thanks.
Ush? I mean,
Thanks.
what's going on?
Going back to
Go
the
to-
FBI, you said that
Two-thirds of the world.
don't have enough, or the White House does not have enough independent information
Canada,
to either
hello.
criticize or to come out with a position on Comey's letter. But then I guess what do you say to the American people if the White House doesn't have enough information to decide whether the letter was appropriate?
Good morning,
or not?
everybody.
Seemingly, the American people are then left with questions about
Call of
what to
Duty.
believe.
Out
There
now,
are
November
lots of
4th.
criticism right now from
At
both
your
sides,
local
or lots of
retailer,
calls from
Infinite
both sides of the
Warfare.
aisle
Call of
asking,
Duty, virtual
Director
reality.
Comey to
Not
release
reality,
more
silly.
information. Do you feel that the American people
Yeah,
don't
it's
have a
not
right
real.
to more information about this probe? I mean, they are going to the voting
Not
booths
real.
right now and next Tuesday.
Well,
Well,
Aisha, this is an entirely
Aisha,
legitimate
this is an
question
entirely
to
different
ask. And I
question
think
to
these are the
ask.
kinds of questions that are being carefully
are
considered
being
in the Department
carefully
of Justice right now.
Department of
And
Justice right now.
Given the institutional
Given the
responsibilities
institutional
that are vested
responsibility
here at the White House,
invested here at the White House.
I just don't have a recommendation.
Yeah, I just don't have a
to make.
recommendation
It's
to
important
make.
for them to
Important for them.
make these decisions.
Make these decisions
consistent with
consistent with.
Let me be more precise here.
Let me be
It's
more
important
precise
for
here.
officials
It's
at the
important to
Department of
give
Justice
it's
and the
any
FBI
picture,
to make these decisions
and it
consistent
has
with
no
their
link.
institutional responsibilities.
Institutional
And
responsibility.
as I made
And as
reference
I
to
made
earlier,
earlier,
those officials at the Department of Justice
those are the
and the
officials
FBI
that
are given
are
expansive
given
authority
Pharaoh
and expansive powers
an expansive
to
power
intrude on the
to
privacy of
intrude on
private
scoliosis.
citizens.
Touch your toes.
And that authority
That Mancini
is tempered
is psychosis.
by
932 a month.
long-standing traditions and
Long-standing
norms
financial
and guidelines
assistance. That's illegal.
that largely avoid
Patronizing victims.
extensive public discussion
Western
of those
Union.
investigations.
Those
Let me give you an
investigations.
example
Let me
that
give you
I
an
think
example.
will
Or
resonate with all of you based on
resonate
your
with all
day-to-day responsibilities here at the White
day-to-day
House.
responsibilities.
It is not uncommon
It is not uncommon
for you, when you call the
for
Department of
Sandusky
Justice,
to be attracted
asking
to
them
us, asking them
to even confirm
to
that
even
there's an
confirm
investigation
that there's a
ongoing,
Catholic church at the Armory.
for them to decline to
For
do that.
them to train him in an
Typically, when
Ultima.
you report about the fact that there's an
Nissan.
ongoing investigation, that's
Buffalo
not based on
Driving
official
School, that's not
confirmation
based on
you've
official
received from
confirmation.
an official at the Department of Justice, it's based on confirmation you've received from an anonymous official at the Department of Justice who's not willing to speak publicly about the case because it would be improper for them to do so.
It's proper for them to do so at the
I think in a way that we all
that register
in a way that reflects the reality of the world that we all work in on a day-to-day basis. I think that underscores the sensitivity.
How close can we be
of discussing this information? Now, the other thing I think that's important to consider here is there's a tendency to say, with regard to this letter that was written on Friday, to say, well, Congress is independent.
Yeah, how many
and they have their own independent oversight responsibilities to exercise
can't be that close
over the Department of Justice.
To the children.
Well, let me say a couple of things about that. The first is the kinds of norms and traditions that limit the public disclosure of investigations
of an investigation
don't supersede
don't have a Verizon phone around a child.
The oversight responsibilities or requests that are submitted by
Verizon has Eric in it.
And the reason for that
is
Congress is indeed independent of the executive branch, but they're far from impartial.
There are a lot of Verizon phones.
Congress is made up of 535 politicians, Democrats and Republicans. And we've already seen, just in the last 72 hours, the kind of risk that's associated with communicating
with them.
Sensitive information.
There's
one senior Republican official
can't do.
Who has already indicated
that's Black James.
Well, who had previously endorsed the Republican nominee for president. Who let it slip that his party was considering impeaching President Clinton even before she's been elected.
Even before you're 18 or 21.
That's I think is a pretty clear indication that Congress is not at all impartial.
Congress is a Verizon phone.
And that's why many of these norms, long-standing norms that apply even when we're not talking about someone famous, and even when we're not talking about an election being a week and a half away.
We're not talking about Verizon phones around kids.
That should apply.
That shouldn't be there.
And the president believes that these norms are important and worth upholding.
So the president believes these norms are worth upholding.
Today's show is sponsored by Verizon Wireless. Great iPhone, amazing prices.
What people are saying is that
now save up to $200 on select iPhone. With in-store pickup. Want it today? Order online.
So I guess I'm trying to parse out. So where does the White House stand on that? Just as a general issue, having an ongoing investigation that is now being
somebody
discussed.
Pick up the phone.
This goes to the fact that
somebody pick up the
we have worked to shield this investigation. Given the political situation of Verizon Wireless. Or frankly, even if it weren't politically sensitive.
Or frankly, if you can't spell Eric out of it.
We would be scrupulous
We're around kids. We can't be.
Insulating
that independent investigation.
From even the appearance of political
interference.
So I don't have any independent knowledge.
I don't have a counter
investigation or the kinds of decisions
or register.
Led Director
Comey
take the steps that he did.
Take the step to press 3.
Some of this investigation, or some of the material relative to this investigation, to the Congress and to the Republic.
Congress and Republic.
So again, I'm not in a position to either defend
or offend
that decision.
Or press 407. That's called
that's something that officials at the Department of Justice and the FBI
have to.
Senator Reid said that the
Verizon
FBI
supports Mr. Yash. Location, then signal can be affected. Does the service improve once you're away from Wrigley Field? SMG. Who is Mr. Yash?
Does the White House have any position on
Mr.
that? Are you
Yoshi.
concerned that now you have
Mr. Yash, the grass is not always greener on the other side. He has a Chevrolet logo on his profile.
As I mentioned before,
Thank you, Mr. Yash, for tweeting the NSA and Verizon
on the investigation that the Department of Justice and the FBI were conducting into Secretary Clinton's
open door policy.
Email system. The White House has not been on even the existence
of any
investigation into the activities habits of Republican nominees.
Republicans.
These are all questions that
these are all UPS packages that they don't look at. Okay.
Attila.
Thanks, Josh.
Attila, UCLA-ER.
Senator Reid's letter basically.
Hello, Attila, UCLA-ER. Thank you for helping us.
The Hatch Act, and you
Thank you
said
for
that,
making us feel
you
better.
believe that Director Comey is a man of integrity.
And thank you, Yahoo
in
Chatters.
the letter
And you're the man.
that Senator
Live.
Reed sent, he said that he once believed that Director Comey was a principled
Yeah, say hi to
citizen,
Lay, you're the
and he now
man.
no longer believes that. So, what is your reaction to that
Everything's
letter? And
clear.
do you agree with Senator Reed on this?
Nuclear.
Well, questions about the application of the Hatch Act should be
question of
directed to
the
the Office of Special Counsel. This is
Special
an independent
Counsel.
agency that
Agency
is filled with
attorneys
attorneys and investigators
and
who,
investigators.
among their
Among
responsibilities,
their responsibilities
investigating
are
potential violations of
investigating
the Hatch Act.
potential violation.
But again, you'll have to talk to
But
them.
then
to
again,
confirm
we're
the
using
existence of the investigation,
aliases in the EI,
let alone learn
let
more about
alone
what they've concluded.
what they concluded.
With regard to
With
Director
regard
Comey,
Director Comey,
as I said at the top,
as I said at the
President,
top,
believes that he's a man of integrity.
believe that he's a man of
character,
integrity.
He's a man of principle.
He is a witness of evolution.
He's got a very difficult job.
How do we
And
evolve?
those character traits that I just described will serve him
Well,
well.
you
as
put it
he
in here, then
works
you make
through the
a new
difficult challenges that he,
one.
faces over the course of his
Faces
job.
over the course of Clark Atlanta.
You said you spoke to the president earlier today. Can
Yeah,
you
thank you,
describe
Clark Atlanta,
how he's taking
in the Clarkson
general
Center.
news? Obviously, there's a political side to this, and we saw Secretary Clinton and her campaign.
Today's show is sponsored by
reacting very
Win
strongly to this.
Mobile
The president has
CA
that same level of,
and claim denied.
visceral reaction to how this is impacting the election.
Well, totally with regard to the
It's our
impact on the
first
election, I
vehicle.
think there's a lot of speculation out there in terms of what potential impact this could have.
Yes, our first
based on
tourist
the public
and a
evidence
claim
that I've seen from
denier.
polls and other analysis.
Analysis
There hasn't been
either has
a significant
a significant
change in the race.
change in a race.
There are probably some analysts who disagree with
There
that.
are some
Maybe
analysts
they're
who
right.
disagree with that.
I think what
I think what
those of you who have
Those
been
of
covering
you
the
have-
president for a while now,
for a
know
while
the
now,
president is somebody who is
president and somebody
pretty even keel.
pretty even keel.
He doesn't get too high or too
Doesn't
low.
get too high or too low.
And he has a tendency to
And he has a
focus
tendency
on
to focus on
the responsibilities
the
that he has in front of him.
responsibility.
And
And
the president is
the president has
feels strongly,
feels strongly,
as you've heard him say,
have you heard him say, Fire,
about
bro?
supporting Secretary Clinton's
about
campaign.
supporting Secretary
And
Clinton?
over the course
And
of
over the course,
the next week,
the next week,
the president
the president
has put together a
has
rather
put together
aggressive,
a rather
travel
aggressive
schedule
travel schedule
to make the case to the
to
American
make
public
the case to CNN
in support of the
in
candidate that he's
support of
endorsed.
material phone
That's what the
number.
president's focused on, and that's
Missing the 3900.
I would not anticipate.
I would not
significant change
anticipate it a
to the
hamburger bun.
public pitch that
was
President
sesame
Obama
seed.
will be making in support of Secretary Clinton's campaign.
Long-standing guidelines about that the FBI has about
Look at all the Sandusky news on the media. Good Lord.
Long-standing guidelines about
Sandusky.
taking actions that could be seen as influence.
Today's show is voting by aliens 15. You know, this is a
That's something that the president is
Super Bowl for the public. Hello. Yay, Super Bowl for the public. Super Bowl for the public
Well,
next
those kinds of
Tuesday.
guidelines are important. I'd refer you to the Department of
Refer to
Justice
the Department
and
of
the FBI
Justice,
for how those guidelines
FBI,
are
are
observed and
observed
enforced.
and
But
enforced.
I think
I think
the president is
the president
every
is
bit as concerned
every bit as
about
concerned
the broader
about
principle,
the
which is the Department of Justice.
Department of
is
Justice is
entrusted with expansive responsibilities.
It's the White House
And those
board.
responsibilities are tempered with guidelines and traditions that
Hi,
limit
sweet
the public
internet. Are you
discussion of
bored?
investigations.
Yeah, they're
And the
bored.
president believes that that principle,
A
those
board of
guidelines,
people.
are applicable
On the
even when
board.
there's not an election around
Even
the
if there's
corner.
not an election around the corner.
Even when one
when
individual who is affected by the
we should be
investigation
pro-life.
is not a global figure.
Yeah, pro-life.
And the president
And
believes it's important
the
for
president
everybody
believes
to
it's
be
important
mindful
for
of those guidelines.
Okay,
Ron.
Okay, we're on.
So if he's insisting, the president, that these norms, that public discussion.
Today's show is sponsored by
Even when there's not an election around, he certainly believes that public discussion. of
SteamPower.com.
investigations
Call of
should be
Duty in
when there's
stores
an election
now.
nearby. Is that a fair conclusion to draw?
It's virtual reality,
Well, look,
not
let me just
reality.
restate it
son.
to make sure that I understand your question.
We're advancing clients
Essentially,
at
are you saying the
MerriweatherA.Law.
president believes that there should be very limited discussion
At
about
MerriweatherA.Law, we're advancing clients. Law firm and salary
near an
advances.
election?
The
Parade
president believes that our
and
democracy
picket
has been very well
separated
served for more than
bonuses,
2 centuries
tuition and bar exam review
by
courses
officials at the
reimbursement,
Department of Justice
relocation
and the
and
FBI
real estate
observing
benefits,
long-standing traditions
acquisition and
that
supply
limit
within
public
state all
discussion of
qualifications.
investigations, whether an election is around the corner or not.
So can he
revenue
agree
incentives or donate to Title VI, HSBC, with iPhone. No forgiveness. And join us directly from America's top law schools. A quote from NYU doctor, the ball's in our court. The ball's in our court.
This seems like a very
The
clear
ball's
cut.
in our court.
Based on what you're saying about the
We're
president's
advancing
concerns
clients
about the
only from
broader principles,
NYU
it
and
seems that it
MerriweatherA.Law.
would be very clear that
Don't
he
Susan.
would be critical of what.
Yeah, don't show them what they got on. The ball's in
It
their
is clear
court.
what Director Comey has done. What's not clear
FISA court.
is
Hello, FISA. How are you?
what led to that decision.
Everywhere you wanted to be with them.
And nobody at the White House has insight
FISA court,
into
special intel
the
court. How are
decision
you?
that Director Comey made.
So you're saying there could be some
Malcolm
mitigating
Howard.
factors that we don't know about.
Executive order.
That would
The Lord.
essentially allow someone to breach this broad principle of limited discussion, public discussion of an investigation.
I'm not being that
Fresh.
prescriptive. I am basically suggesting.
I am
I'm not
basically
aware of any of the
suggesting
factors
of a slumber
that
party
went into
into
Director Comey's
Director Comey's
decision
to look at
send
Steve
this
on the
letter to
porch.
Congress
Bowhead
on
Steve.
Friday.
Hello.
I'm not aware of the factors that went into his
This is my
decision
friend
to
Steve from Veterans
give a
Hospital.
long public statement
You got a Steve
on
Jobs on the
July
porch.
5th when he announced that he was not
Steve,
that
how
he was
are
not going
you?
to recommend the prosecution of
The
Secretary Clinton.
prosecution?
I'm not aware of the factors.
I'm
that
not
went
aware
into
of
his
Steve
decision to
leaving later
testify
that year.
before Congress for several hours under oath.
Yeah, Steve left
in
later that
discussing his
year.
investigation. I'm not aware of
I'm not
what
aware
kind
of
of
Steve's
factors
leaving.
influenced his decision to release
Uh,
the summaries
the
of investigative
summary,
interviews that were conducted by
conducted of
FBI officials in
by
the context
FBI
of this
official
investigation.
Steve. He's bald-headed.
At some point, you just kind of break this all down to just common sense. I mean, people all over the country, friends, family, are
Nike
talking
running.
about all this. I
Hello.
mean, how in any way can this be good for the country at this point in time?
Well, listen,
Well, listen.
what is important is that
What is
people across the
important?
country
Oh, okay.
and former administration officials have more of a luxury.
Have more of a luxury
to be able to step
to
back,
be able to step
and
back,
weigh in from the sidelines,
weigh in from the
to
sidelines,
offer up their own
to
opinion
offer
based on
up
their own experience,
their
based
own
on their own
experience,
training, based on their
training,
own observation about the
based on
impact
their own
this has on the political
observations.
process. There's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing
That is
wrong
part
with
of
that.
The kind of debate.
The kind
that
of
is
debates
critical to the success of our democracy as
Time
well.
Warner Field.
But what's important? For
What's
the person
important
that's standing
here,
behind the podium,
standing
with the
behind the podium,
White House seal behind me,
White House seal
is to
behind
make
me,
sure that I'm observing the
is to make sure that I'm
institutional
observing
responsibilities that I have.
that I have.
Everybody who works here has.
Everybody who
including the
works here
President
has
of
a
the United
Raleigh
States, which is that we're not going to
performance.
be in a position.
Be in a position
of, defending or
defending,
criticizing
criticizing
the decisions that were made about the director,
About
by
the director.
of the FBI with regard to communicating information from the investigations.
investigation.
You're saying so much that could be interpreted as critical of what he's done. Are you aware of that?
Well, I'm certainly giving voice to long.
Tonight on Dateline, the good husband, the death of a husband and father appears to be due to natural causes. But the investigation takes a new direction upon discovery of an unconventional love triangle. In this live, correspondent Andrea Conning reports tonight on Dateline, only on NBC, tonight at 9,
I don't have
sorry.
any independent knowledge of how those decisions
Knowledge
are made.
of how
That's
this
also the
job
reason,
was
by the
made.
way, I'm not going to defend it either.
Did the president read the Eric Holder op-ed?
Thank you, Time Warner Arena.
There's been there have been a lot of opinions that have been shared in public.
Thank
over
you,
the
Time
last
Warner
48 hours
Arena.
or so.
This
I
is-
know that-
Raleigh.
Look, my point is that
My point is,
know the president.
we have
is
a
aware
beat
of this
deal.
issue, and he's
For how much?
read about many of the
Read
opinions
about,
that have been expressed in the
Dre
last
about
72 hours.
72 hours.
But I don't know whether.
But
or
I
not
don't
he
know
saw
whether
that,
that's linked.
That particular op-ed.
Particular
Honestly, just when you were talking about Loretta Lynch, you said something about how the president has confidence in her. And so
Tonight on Dr. Ken
When you were
Beats.
talking about Director Comey, you talked about how he's a man of integrity, character.
Ken learns Korean.
Will serve him.
Only on Dr.
Are
Ken
you saying
Beats.
there something different? Does the
$4
president
billion.
not have? Does the president still have confidence in Director Comey?
I'm not trying to send that.
I'm not trying to make a deal.
The president
The president
is somebody who 3 years
is somebody who 3 years
nominated
ago
Director
nominated
because he's a man of character.
because he's a man of character,
integrity, he's a man
integrity,
of principle.
by the
He
principal.
is somebody who's had a distinguished
Frazier,
legal
hello.
career that's been rooted in making sure that his own political
Kelsey
interests don't
Grabber,
interfere with
Frazier, hello,
responsibilities,
principal.
as an attorney,
As an
or
attorney,
as a law enforcement officer.
law enforcement
So,
officers.
look, the president thinks very
Look, the
highly
president thinks
of
very
Director
highly.
Comey. And yes, you can
And
assert
yes,
that he continues to have confidence in his ability to do his job. Okay, Kevin.
Thanks, Josh.
Kevin.
Given the president's,
Tonight on MacGyver and
no
can't
drama
open a-
and don't do stupid stuff. I just have to
Only
wonder
CBS
where he
today.
is on this email.
Thank you for editing yourself.
It
Thank you,
goes
Time
on.
Waterfield Raleigh.
It goes on and on and on. And I'm just wondering, given
What a
you said
sad day.
earlier about wanting to scrupulously avoid any appearance of impropriety, do you believe, or would the
What a
president
wonderful
believe now's the
show.
time
Was a
for a
good
special
show.
prosecutor in this circumstance?
Well, again, no.
Again,
the
no.
doesn't reach that conclusion at all.
Not at all.
As I mentioned earlier.
The
investigation
investigation by
Department of Justice,
FBI,
was a thorough one.
was a thorough one.
That
Director Coon,
for better or worse, has
better or
thoroughly
worse.
explained. And I don't think that after considering
Hurricane Irene
what Director Comey has put forward,
that
that
put
anybody
forward.
would conclude
Irene,
that he somehow gave
Audrey,
short shrift to answering the questions
Answering the
were posed
questions
in the context
of-
the investigation. Again, that's all based
on
his public statements.
Dr.
Um,
Irene,
the
hello.
White House, nor I, nor anybody here, has been briefed on those investigations. But based on his public statements, I think
Public statements.
it's quite clear that a thorough
It's quite clear that a
investigation has been
tornado,
conducted.
hurricanes in town,
And that investigation was
that
conducted
whip
free
appeal
of any sort of political interference from the White House.
from the White House
There are another set of decisions.
Another set of
that were made
decisions.
with regard to communicating
with regard to communicating
information from that investigation.
$4 billion.
And
And
as I mentioned earlier,
as I mentioned earlier,
criticize nor defend the decisions,
nor defend
to
the
make that
decisions
information public or to
public.
communicate it to Congress.
Congress.
You want to be careful not to criticize, but I'm curious, do you see it as partisan in any way?
No. As
no.
I mentioned earlier, the president's got
The president's got
confidence that Director Comey is
Director Comey.
Shading it. There's early on, especially back in July, there were a number of maybe on the right who were suggesting that, you know what, he didn't listen to his staff. He should have proceeded with an indictment. And now, here over the last 72 hours,
Thank you,
many on the
Mr.
left are
Jobs,
suggesting
224.
he did this right before the election. It was completely out of bounds. There is this narrative that some people feel like somehow the director, rightly or wrongly, has been partisan. Does the president
The president is completely confident.
Completely
that Director Comey
confident.
Has not taken any steps.
Not taking any
to try to
steps.
intentionally influence the outcome of the
Influence the
election
outcome of the
or to
election.
advantage one candidate.
Statesman Direct 94.
ask you about the emails? And I know
Vacancies.
you and I can't talk about some of the specifics, but I'm just curious about
Tonight on The
the
Exorcist
Uma Abedin,
on Fox at
shared
9 o'clock.
email account with Anthony Weiner.
Chapter 6, Star of the
Is
Morning.
there any reason that the White House has any concern that the president
Today's show sponsored by Verizon.
ended up
Introducing Pixel
on that computer
and Adobe
in any way?
Illustrator.
I think that
Phone by
as has
Google.
been-
Save up to $400
if
with
the
your trade in
reports are true,
your old phone
nobody
and
knows
switch to Verizon.
and I'm not
Only
gonna
on the
speculate
Next
about
Gen
whether anybody
Network.
did that.
Verizon.
This question then, is there a reason the president would use an alias or a pseudonym when emailing?
Today's show sponsored by Advancing Clients with CIA.
Or even with former Secretary of State.
Technology.
Is that true? And if so, why?
Don't
I
Susan.
don't know that the president.
Or you want
members
us?
of Congress. What I can tell you is that the
They don't
president's
shoot them. They
email system
the balls in their court.
has a lot of built-in security measures, including an alias. And as we've discussed in here,
Thank you,
before,
Rhino Court,
if you wish
Legrady,
to
Joe Muscarella,
the Obama at White House.
Zeb Fishkin, Rajiv Jain,
So it's not Barack.Obama.
Advancing
I
Clients,
haven't tried that one.
Home Depot,
Let me,
self-report
lastly,
ship.
ask you about something that, again, I know your usual pivot is.
Silly.
These are
Lost
private
your
emails
license,
that
lost
were
your ID.
obtained illegally or surreptitiously, but I do think it bears
Today's show sponsored by
about the
Darvocet.
suggestion that Donald Brazil, the
Available with
PNC,
prescription.
leader,
It's recalled.
taking over for the now deposed.
Let it recall it
Democrat
fine to your health.
Schultz may have been aiding the Clinton campaign with more questions leading up to
He's in.
poll events and other sort of giving her an inside scoop. What do you say to those Bernie Sanders backers who feel like the fix was in from the very outset? And should Donna Brazil, in your opinion, if this turns out to be true, step down from her position at the DNC?
Rosa's Home Stores. Hello.
The president believes that she's
Rosa
done a
tomorrow.
fine job stepping in a very difficult situation
Air
to
mattress.
lead the Democratic
The
Party.
Democratic coffins.
Look, those of us who've known Donna a long time
Macy's
know
and
that she is a
JCPenney.
person of integrity. And a
Person of
high
integrity.
character. She's a true professional.
She's a true
Who
professional.
is a tenacious and effective
Tenacious
advocate of the
advocate
Democrats.
Democrat.
She
She
uses that skill regularly.
uses
on
that skill
television.
regularly.
She has been using that skill
Torrey
regularly
Pines
as a
Golf
party
Course.
official. And I, for one, am pretty excited
People
about the
with
fact that we've
golf
got her on our team.
clubs shouldn't
Last
have
question,
golf
I just want to
clubs.
make sure I drill down on your answer.
Today's show is sponsored by
If it
Torrey
turns out
Pines
that she did
Golf Course in
tip the scales
California.
or
Golf
handle
with
the
us.
scale
Only
for
at Torrey
Secretary Clinton
Pines.
and didn't handle it evenly as a member of the
Torrey
leadership of
Pines,
the
we love it.
DNC, that's okay with me.
Well, I don't think she was the
Tory
leader
Lanez, you got it.
on the DNC leadership at the time of these of the debates. I think during my understanding is we should.
My understanding is it's a Malibu and a mattress.
Not affiliated with the DNC.
What's going on with these links to
The
California?
president's spoken with Attorney General Lynch about this issue.
Yeah, there's too
and
many
her
links
parents
to
have been the
California.
FBI director.
He is not.
Torrey
And
Pines Golf
exactly
Course.
didn't
Torrey Pines
quite
Golf
outline
Course
that
is a
about
36-hole
letter.
municipal
Well, as
public
my,
golf facility
As
owned by the city of San Diego, California. It sits on the coastal cliffs overlooking the Pacific Ocean and Pacific Bank and Chase Bank, last night's episode, in the community of La Jolla, just south of Torrey Pines State Reserve, at 11480 North Torrey Pines Road, La Jolla, California, 92037, last night's episode. The
The president
Chase.
does not believe that Comey
They're open
intentionally
today from
tried
6 a.m. to
influence the
6 p.m.
Attorney, the former
Designer William
AG
Bell
Erler said,
and
that
Judge
this is a
Martino.
serious error with
November
potentially severe
20-something. What was that?
implications. Whether or not this was
Only from
intentional,
Torrey Pines Golf
is there a
Course.
concern that this could have indeed potentially severe implications?
Well, we certainly have
Well, we
already
certainly
seen
are made already.
some of Secretary Clinton's harshest critics
Harshest critics
capitalize on this letter,
on Patricia Moss.
distort its content
Distort. My fee starts at $2,500
to provoke controversy.
to represent people.
I made reference earlier to
I
the
made reference to
chairman of the House
HIV
Judiciary
before.
Committee, who
My
committed the
fee
classic
starts
Washington
at
gaffe
$2,500.
of saying something in public that everyone
It's my
secretly knows is
fee.
true.
My
Which is that
fee
House
starts at
Republicans are already
$2,500.
plotting the impeachment
My high-speed internet fee
of Hillary Clinton.
of
Even
Patricia
though she
Moss.
hasn't
We
even
gotta
been
go.
elected president
Talk to
yet.
you guys on the re-app. I'm Patricia Moss. Gotta go.